I don't know any of the details of this at all. I don't know who's been alleged to have been involved in this. I will say that anybody who threatens political violence against elected officials or anyone else should be have the full weight and measure of the Department of Justice on their head. I trust that that'll happen. I hope it will. We are intellectually consistent about that. Obviously, I will tell you this: the violence on the left is far more prevalent than the violence on the right. Don't make me go through the list. You all know it. All of the assassination culture that's been advanced now, this is the left in almost every case that is advancing this and not the right. So let's not make it a partisan issue. You don't want me to go there.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go there. MAGA Mike Johnson, who was responding to reporters earlier this week over the death threats allegedly made against Hakeem Jeffries by a pardoned January 6th insurrectionist last Monday. Oh, and Mr. Low-Key Grinder doesn't want us to go there. Well, let's go there, okay? I'll go there right now. Hi, my name is Suri Crow, and you are watching the Midas Touch Network. We are intellectually consistent about this. Political violence on the left is far more prevalent than the right. Ha 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 ha. Notice how, like, the more he digs into his constant lies, the more his mouth doesn't move. It's like, he looks like, to me, like a ventriloquist who's trying not to let you know that he's lying while he's talking. He's just so freaking creepy. All right, but seriously, let's take a look at the numbers, shall we? But let me preface this with the knowledge that the Trump regime doesn't want us to know the facts about political violence, okay? In September, The Guardian released a report revealing that a study that found right-wing extremists have killed more Americans than other domestic terrorist groups just magically vanished from the DOJ website. The U.S. Justice Department, under Pam Bondi and Trump, scrubbed a study from its website, concluding that far-right extremists have killed far more Americans than any other domestic terrorist group. And this happened just days after a gunman fatally shot the prominent conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Well, how convenient. The Vanish study opened with, quote, since 1990, far-right extremists have committed far more ideologically motivated homicides than far-left or radical Islamist extremists, including 227 events that took more than 520 lives. In this same period, far-left extremists committed 42 ideologically motivated attacks that took 78 lives, okay? So that is how the numbers stack up, according to a DOJ government-funded study. The National Institute of Justice study, which was based on research spanning 3 decades, represented one of the most comprehensive government assessments of domestic terrorism patterns. It found that militant, nationalistic, white supremacist, violent extremism has increased in the United States, and that the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. I mean, that should be no surprise when you look at one of the worst attacks ever of domestic terrorism, which was January 6th. But the findings also align with an independent research study from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, which analyzed 893 terrorist plots between 1994 and 2020. And that study concluded that right-wing attacks and plots account for the majority of all terrorist incidents in the United States since 1994. All right. But that research and those facts did not add up with the right-wing narrative post Charlie Kirk that it was the left, that the left was to blame. I mean, they just went to town on that, and they have not taken their foot off the pedal of gas. And also, if you look at this chart from the Cato Institute, you will see that the pendulum has swung even harder to the right in terms of politically motivated violence. And is it any wonder when the MAGA movement consistently foments stochastic terrorism, when the White House's own top messengers say things like this?
Proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world.
Or this.
Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement. And as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every other day. Body after body after body after body.
I mean, my God. But let's dive a bit deeper into the data, shall we?
Here are the facts for the current and our recent era. Right-wing and anti-government violence is the most common political violence. It is also the most deadly, because that's roughly 5 times as by the far right. And if you look at the body count, as investigators do, those attacks resulting in far right extremist violence leading to about or over 520 deaths, the left-wing attacks resulting in the death of about the number you see there, 78. That's 6 times as many dead. A federal government accounting shows the number of far-right attacks outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violent extremism. This was explained to Congress by the first person Trump appointed to permanently lead the FBI, Chris Wray, testifying under oath in 2019 about far-right and racist acts. He explained that most of the FBI's domestic terror cases involved white supremacist motives.